The Know Nothing Party was the outgrowth of anti-immigrants and the anti-Roman Catholic sentiment that manifested itself during the 1840s. The Know Nothing Party was the most prominent American nativist organization in the 19th century. The first real leader was Louis Charles Levine, who was a Jewish-American politician, know-nothing, and an anti-Catholic social activist of the 1840s and 1850s. The headquarters was in New York City, New York. In 1855, the Native American Party renamed as American Party, which is commonly known as the Know Nothing movement. It promised to purify American politics by limiting or ending the influences of the Irish Catholics. When members were asked about their nativist organizations, they were supposed to reply that they knew nothing, hence the name. The Chinese Exclusion Acts were federal laws passed in 1882, 1892, and 1902 to prevent the Chinese from coming to the United States. A large number of Chinese came to the West Coast after the discovery of the gold rush in California. The right to immigrate received formal protection under the Burlingame Treaty in 1868. Competition between Chinese and native white American laborers led to anti-Chinese agitation, which got worse during the Depression in the 1870s and started anti-Chinese riots in San Francisco. In 1879, Congress passed an act restricting Chinese immigration. The act was vetoed by President Rutherford B. Hayes. The Chinese were suspended for 10 years in 1882. In 1892, Congress extended the Chinese exclusion for another 10 years. In 1917, there was the very first widely restricted immigration law. The uncertainty during World War I made it possible for Congress to pass the law. In 1917, they created a literacy test that required 16-year-olds and up to demonstrate basic reading comprehension in any language. The taxes increased for immigrants upon arrival to see who should be excluded. In 1924, the Immigration Act limited immigrants into the United States through a National Origins Quota Act, which wanted to maintain the existing ethnic composition of the U.S. The quota provided immigration visas, which is a document issued by the U.S. Consular Office that allows you to travel in the U.S. and apply to be a legal permanent resident. The immigration visas are given 2% of the total number of people of each and every nationality in the U.S. It completely excluded Asians. The Irish famine was a period of mass starvation, disease, and emigration between 1845 and 1852. Outside of Ireland, the Irish famine is called potato blight famine. The potato famine was a potato disease known as potato blight, which the proximate cause is Phytophthora infestans, which caused approximately 1 million people to die and 1 million emigrated from Ireland. The famine effects permanently changed the island's demographic, political, and cultural landscapes.
People move for different reasons. These reasons affect the overall migration process. The conditions under which a migrant enters a receiver population can have broad implications for all parties involved. The expression migration experience refers to the fact that different causes for migration will produce different outcomes observable from a sociological perspective.
In the 1920s, immigration was one of the heaviest periods of the 20th century, with crowds of immigrants hoarding the U.S. District Court in Hartford, Connecticut. On March 8, 1882, the Senator of Connecticut was discussing on whether or not he wanted to oppose the Chinese immigration bill. There was a vote on the amendment limiting the suspension of the coming Chinese laborers to 10 years. The vote ended up being a tie as of May 23, 1882. In the 1850s, more than 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States. Most of the immigrants came from England, Ireland, and Germany. Around 70% of immigrants came through New York City. It is mostly known as the Golden Door. Most immigrants specifically arrived at the Castle Garden in Manhattan, New York. The government then thought on opening a new place for immigrants to enter. It is located at Ellis Island in the New York Harbor.